New details emerging this morning on the tragic murder of a local news reporter and her cameraman on television live by a former co-worker. Investigators now studying closely the shooter's manifesto, a 27-page document he faxed to ABC News. In the document, Vesterly Flanagan calls himself a powder keg just waiting to go boom. So it is possible to spot threats like this in the workplace. What should we all be looking for in people we work with? Let's talk to our panel of experts. Steve Cardian is a retired Westchester County police detective and self-defense instructor. Paul Viollis is the host of Security Brief and CEO of Viollis Group International and former supervisor with the Manhattan DA's office. And Darby Fox is a clinical psychologist. We thank you all for continuing with us. Steve, you say that given the fact that, and we were talking about this a little while ago, the general manager called the guy in at one point and said, "You've got to go talk to the doctors because we don't think you're right, and if you don't, we're going to get you're going to get canned." You say the GM did everything right.
He did everything right at that time. They notified police. They decided to terminate him. They notified the police department. They brought them in when they knew he was agitated. The only thing that they could have done additionally was to document everything in the event that they had something like this come up.
Paul, you say he's wrong.
No, at the time.
You say that they did not do everything.
They didn't do everything.
They dropped the ball.
They did drop the ball. There's no question about that. But at that point in time, what Steve said is right, at that point in time. But your responsibility doesn't stop there, Steve. We know over the last 5 years, we saw it with the Empire State Building shooting, we know that over the last 5 years, there's a trend of individuals coming back more than a year later to express their disdain towards those that they blame for their lot in life. This is a blatant example of that. Part of HR's responsibility is to track someone like this, where you fired him for anger and potential violent issues, to make sure he remains gainfully employed. The moment he doesn't, you got a problem.
Sure, and he had a history because he'd filed claims at other places he had worked. Darby, do you think that he, and we talked about this earlier, about how he didn't go back into the station with his guns blazing. He found a location, a really soft target, where they were just on a balcony. He was talking to somebody from the Chamber of Commerce, and he chose that moment to do it. Do you think he targeted the young woman and the cameraman specifically, or just the station that was doing a live shot there?
I think he targeted him specifically because he had an issue with him, but I don't think it was as deep personally as we would like to think. It was, he knew that that situation was something he could gain a lot of attention with. He knew the setup, it would be early in the morning, there wouldn't be a lot of people around. He knew he could get the kind of attention from that scene that he was desiring.
You know what? And ultimately, he was out for revenge, we've read, and whatnot. But what he was doing was he said to the station, you know, screw you. I'm going to force me on you, and you're going to have to cover me because I'm going to kill these people live on TV.
Right. He got everyone to listen. He wanted people to listen. It's consistent with a workplace violent shooter. And besides using social media, he used a camera. He produced and directed his own show, and everybody's watching. He got everyone's attention.
He did, and he used that mechanism. He took a month to plan this out. So this was very well organized, very well orchestrated. He knew exactly what he was going to do and what he was going to accomplish.
You know, because he had a getaway car. He drove from that location. He went to the airport. He switched cars. And thankfully, license plate readers spotted him on 66, headed to Washington, D.C., it looks like. What was he going to do there? We just don't know. All right, Steve and Paul and Darby, thank you very much.
Thanks,
Thank you.